So, one participant asks, how can I deal with difficult people like snipers who always look for an opportunity to put others down in front of the entire team only to show that they are more important and competent? I can empathize with their insecurity, but confronting them in any way seems useless as they fiercely defend themselves irrationally. How would you handle this?
I know the person who sent this question is probably also needing some empathy, so it may be hard for them to hear this answer. And I would say empathy, empathy, empathy. If someone is acting in that way, that is a cry. It's a primal cry. One thing I love that Marshall, I heard him say so many times, he's often quoted on this, Marshall Rosenberg, who developed the NVC model. Violence is a tragic expression of unmet needs. So this may not be physical violence, although, by the way, I think it's this kind of behavior, and Marshall recognizes as well, that ultimately can lead to physical violence, this kind of disconnection. I would consider it a form of violence. It's a form of disconnection. So my question is, what I would suggest is when that person is not in the big meeting, because if the person who sent this question guessed that they're feeling insecure, so bringing this up in the big meeting, I'm doubting is going to be a support in terms of connection or support for the person. See when you can catch them at the water cooler, or see when you can catch them for a minute in their office or their cubicle, and just see what you can do to connect with them. It might be as simple, hey, I heard you talking about this project today in the meeting. What I mean by this is, at first, you may want to even skip addressing the actual behavior. Hey, I heard you talking about all the different pieces involved today at the meeting. My guess is this could be kind of overwhelming. I also have some things on my plate, and I just want you to know if there's anything I can help with that, let me know, because I'm big on us supporting each other here. I know that can be hard to do when you're already triggered by the person. If you can reach out in that way and let them know that you want to be of support, that you are willing to listen, that may open the avenue for them to share more and you to empathize with them. Now, having said that, I also am living free of an expectation that it is your responsibility to give empathy to anyone who's you're finding challenging in the workplace. So if you're asking me how to address this situation, that's one way, through empathy. The other way, of course, is there's another practice in nonviolent communication called protective use of force. It's basically around setting boundaries with love or care. So you can also go into honest expression. I actually would suggest the empathy first. And if you're unwilling or unable to muster that, you may also want to look at what boundaries you can set in a way that's holding everyone's needs with care. That could sound like, for example, hey, I just want to, and I don't know, by the way, I'm answering this question blind because I'm unaware of the power differentials. Power differentials are important in every single conversation. In my opinion, they especially become important when someone has significantly more power than the other person. I'm assuming, based on this question, these people are colleagues, okay, which creates an interesting power differential. If actually, they're all interesting power differentials, because if you're a manager, that has some different challenges than if you're a report or if you're colleagues. So I'm just inviting awareness of the power differentials and acknowledging that will impact what strategy you choose. If you are colleagues, if you feel comfortable doing this, you could, in terms of setting a boundary, say, for example, hey, I just want to check in with you about our team meetings. Do you have a couple minutes we could talk about this? See if the person's open to it. Again, this is offline, outside the meeting. If they are, say, hey, I know there's a lot of things that you want to cover. I'm also aware we have 4 weeks left to finish this project, and we have a half hour for that team meeting each week. It would really give me some ease. I'm wondering if you'd be willing for the next meeting to come with some bullet points, and so that we each have about 5 minutes for the presentation section of the meeting, so we have 15 minutes for troubleshooting. And then I would pull the jackal by the ears. What I mean by that's an NVC expression, is rather than making an open connection request, make a connection request like, I wonder if you can understand why I'm making that request. I wonder if you can understand why I'm really wanting to hold 15 minutes for the troubleshooting part of the meeting. So that would be pulling the jackal by the ears. So I've given a few suggestions here, but just to review it, empathy or setting some boundaries, or as we say in NVC, protective use of force. Make sure you let the person know the needs that you're meeting, and make sure the connection request is pulling the jackal by the ears. So you're really inviting this person to put themselves in your shoes, even if it's for 30 seconds in responding to your question.